Alright, so we'll be ranking the top NBA teams this season. Let's get started. Okay, so the Philadelphia 76ers. So this is assuming they are, what will they be in the playoffs? So I think Embiid might be back. I don't know. Still don't know. So yeah, we'll put him in B for now. Just the other uncertainty and stuff like that. The Blazers, yeah, they're D. They've not been good at all this season, which was expected. They traded Damian Lillard. And yeah, they're just tanking right now. And yeah, that's really it for them. The Bucks, put them at A. Yeah, I think they've been playing well recently. Let me just check the standings real quick. Well, they're sitting second place right now. They've been better defensively as of late. But Dame hasn't really exactly been Dame still, but they've been better. They fixed their defensive issues under Doc Rivers, but yeah, are they S tier? I mean, like if Dame can show up, I'd be more comfortable putting them there. But I don't know if this team is better than what they were last year. Because I think Lillard's been worse than what Drew Holiday was for them last year, which was a downgrade. Plus, a lot of Grayson Allen too. Granted, you got Malik Beasley, but I think Grayson Allen's been better. But I don't think Brook Lopez is as good as he was last year. Yeah, put him in A. They're still a great team. I just don't think they're one of the favorites to win the championship like they have been in years past. Cavaliers, I put them at A as well. Yeah, they're having a great season. They started out very slow, but then they really started to pick it up. Kind of weirdly, after Mobley and Garland went down, they came back and they've still been playing well. Yeah, they should be. Their off-season acquisitions like Max Strus, Jordan Niang, they've been working out well. And yeah, they have more. They have a more well-rounded team. They have more depth, more shooting, which was a bit of a problem for them last year. Like last year, they had like Lamar Stevens, Isaac Okoro as their top two wings. That was a problem for them. So yeah, I think that despite that, I don't know if they're favorites yet, but I think they'll be much better than they were last year in the playoffs. I think they'll go to the second round, maybe the conference finals. We'll see. But yeah, I think I like their team. They got a good front court, obviously, great defense, and then that back court is electric. Especially Donovan Mitchell's having a great year. Darius Garland, I mean, yeah, he's been a little bit, yeah, but I think his efficiency's been fine. He's just trying to adjust to this offensive system, which Mitchell and Allen, were, you know, like they were using. They were like how that was working. He's just trying to get integrated. I think he'll be fine. But I still don't think they're at that level yet. But we'll see. The Clippers. Where are this thing staying? I feel like they haven't been playing that well recently. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, they're 5-5 in the last 10 games, and they were playing very well before the All-Star break. Hasn't been the same after the All-Star break. They've been a little shaky, but I think they're still an S-tier team. I think once Westbrook comes back, he's been key for them off the bench. His defense has been great. Secondary playmaking. He can get to the rim a little bit. Another ball handler. And obviously they got their little big three, Kawhi and Paul George. Incredible two-way duo. And obviously James Harden's fit perfectly as a third option. Floor general. And yeah, they got some solid depth too. Play like Norman Powell. Obviously Westbrook coming off the bench. Yeah, I think they got a great team. They got some good defensive players. I think they're pretty good defensively and offensively. Obviously, they're a juggernaut. Yeah, I think they have a lot. I think they have everything you need to be like a championship caliber team. They just do. They just gotta stay healthy. I think they'll be there. Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah, this is a D season. This season, at least. Yeah, I mean, they're completely banged up. Yeah, I think pretty much every single key player for that team is injured, like John Moran, Desmond Bain, except for Jaren Jackson. He's the only one that's kind of been staying healthy, but still, that's not a good team at all. A bunch of G League guys around him. So yeah, I think the focus will be on next season, which I think they'll be much better. I think assuming they're all healthy next year, they'll be very good with Vince Williams, Gigi Jackson. Those guys really showed they can be key parts of this team, and I think they're adding those two guys to a second seeded core, a team that was a second seed a year ago. That core that was a second seed, they could be a problem next year. But this season, this is a lost year for them. They'll get a high draft pick, which is cool. Yeah. Anyway, the Hawks put them in C tier. I mean, they've had a decent. They had a bit of a disappointing season. I thought they'd be much better than last year. I thought they'd have a bounce back year, especially after trading John Collins, but they have not exactly done that. And Trae Young's gonna be out for quite a while. We don't know when he's coming back. But yeah, I think they've still played relatively well without him. They've been hanging in the middle there. They'll likely be in the play-in tournament. I don't think they're bad enough to be like a lottery team or anything. I think they're an average NBA team, which they have been for the last 3 years. Yeah, having like DeJounte Murray, and he's been playing great basketball for them. Jalen Johnson's been great. They can get Trae Young back. It's a decent team, but like at best, it's a first round exit. They're an average team, first round exit most likely. Okay, next up, the Miami Heat. Now this is a tough one because in the regular season, this team's always not at its best. Like this season, right now they're the 8th seed again, just like last year, or the 7th. I don't know, but 35-29. Like I don't know. I feel like they're kind of just they don't really care about the regular season. I feel like they want to turn this on in the playoffs. But then I don't know. The regular season's a pretty big sample size still, and you still want to. I think I'll stick them in B. Like I think they're better than the Hawks. I think definitely much better than the Hawks. I think the Sixers is a pretty similar tier. I think the Heat are a good NBA team. I don't know if they're quite a title contender this year. And granted, they just took off last year. I don't know if they'll do that again, but who knows? But yeah, as long as you have Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, it's like Tyler Hero, they have some players. Jaime Hawkins has been great for them. Yeah, Duncan Robinson. Yeah, they have some good role players. Their defense is good, like always. But offensive, they're not always the most consistent off half-court offense, and that's been a issue for them this year once again. And now you're gonna have to hope that Jimmy Butler becomes MJ in the playoffs again. Can he do that again? I mean, he's like, how old is he? He's like 34? Just double check. Yeah, he's 34 years old, so like, I don't think he's. Can he do that again? I don't know if he can do that. Not that he'll be bad in the playoffs, but I just don't think he'll be at that high level. Like, in order for his team to actually reach that ceiling of like, getting to the championship round, Butler's got to be playing at that incredible superstar level, which I don't think he'll do again. So I think they're fine they're a good team. I don't think they're quite title contenders. So I think they're best case scenario, a second round team, but I think most likely a first round exit. The Hornets, yeah, this is also a D tier. I mean, this team's decided to rebuild again. Like after trading away Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier. They kept Miles Bridges though. Trade PJ Washington. So they're rebuilding around LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges. We don't know what his future is with this team. He's a free agent at the end of the year, unrestricted. So yeah, but for now they're not going to be a good team. LaMelo's injured again, and they're likely looking ahead to the draft to add to this core. Utah Jazz, C tier team. Let me look at the standings again. Yeah, they're 28-36. I mean, yeah, they've kind of fallen off badly since the trade deadline. After they surprisingly traded away all their veteran players, which is kind of surprising considering they were like in the play-in race, But they traded away players like Kelly Olynyk. Who else they traded away? Simone Fontecchio. And as a result, they've kind of just fallen apart. It felt like those trades kind of deflated the team's, mindset. It's kind of similar to what happened last year too. I think they were in a similar position last year too, and they still blew it up and they just fell apart. Similar situation here. I don't think they're as bad as these teams below them, like Portland, Memphis, Charlotte. But they're not. But I think they're an average NBA team. Yeah, I think Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton. Yeah, it's an okay team, but I think C is fair. I don't know. Maybe in the middle of C and D, C minus, but yeah, that put them up there. Okay, the Sacramento Kings. It's a B tier team, I think. Yeah, they haven't had the big time regular season that they had last year, but they've been a good team. I mean, let me just check the standings real quick. But they've been good. Like they're 36 and 27, seventh in the West. Like they have a good team again. Like De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis. It's a good core. Both playing good basketball this season. Keegan Murray's really taken a step forward as a defensive player. Not as much offensively though. But this team, I think though, I just have a problem with this team in terms of like what their ceiling is, and they got to reevaluate because I don't think this team is good enough to win a championship, and so they got to do something, catch up to some of those teams that have been improving around them, and they kind of stay the same, and that's kind of why they fall off. It's not that they've been worse, like they didn't get worse. It's just the teams around them just got better, and they just did nothing. And they've also kind of figured out their offensive system. They're right middle of the pack offense, and they're like middle of the pack defense too. But it's pretty just an average NBA team, slightly above average. I don't know what average. I don't want to call them average, but they're above average. So, yeah, I think they're a playoff team. They should make the playoffs, I think, but I think it's like a first round exit, similar to like the Sixers and Heat. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. The New York Knicks. So Knicks have been badly injured here lately, but I think they'll all be back by the playoffs. I think a healthy New York Knicks team is an A-tier team. Yes, I don't know if I'll go that far yet, but the Knicks are still a great team, though. Yeah, when they're healthy, like this team's gonna be a problem. Like obviously, Jalen Brunson's been playing at an extremely high level. He's probably a top 15 player in the league right now. Julius Randle's an All NBA guy when he's like the last time he was healthy, All NBA guy, and he's playing at that level this year too before he got hurt. And OG Anunoby was a brilliant fit. He was like they were taken off after they got him. Like he was incredible defensively. Yeah, he was a great 3-and-D player. Yeah, he fit in like a glove. Mitchell Robinson's probably gonna be back too, and he's been a great offensive rebounder. He kind of single-handedly won that series for them last year. I'm just kidding, but he was still a vital part of that team. Obviously, Isaiah Hartenstein as well. Like that's an incredible duo. They both could be top 100 players in the league. To be honest with you, that's a great duo at the center position. They got tons of depth. Like they have like Dante DiVincenzo. They have like Josh Hart, Bojan Bogdanovic, Alec Burks, Precious Achiuwa. Like this team has a lot of depth, lots of it. Like they got a lot of good NBA players that play both ends of the floor at a high level. Not a high level, but like they are competent on both ends of the floor. So they're just a great team. Like they have, I think Jalen Brunson's already nearing that superstar status. So I think he could be that guy. He can be that guy. But can they be S tier? I don't know if they're quite at that level. Some of the dudes I'll be putting in that S tier. I feel like I put a high bar for S tier. I don't know if the Knicks are exactly one of the favorites, but they're like right below that for sure. Like they got a perfect team around. Lots of creators, lots of good defensive players. Playmakers. They have depth. Like this is a good team, great team. The Lakers. I'll put them in B. I mean, they're an interesting team because they're in the regular season. They're not like they're 36 and 30 right now. They've been around the 500 mark forever, but in the playoffs, all bets are off. I think this team, we saw this team did 7th seed last year. They went all the way to the conference finals, and I think this team they could do it again. I mean, as long as they have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, anything's possible. Like LeBron, AD, like yeah. I mean, D'Angelo Russell's been playing some great basketball for them lately. Same for Austin Reeves. I feel like they don't have the best depth. I mean, Rui Hachimura he's fine, but then there isn't a whole lot. They don't have a great bench, so you're relying heavily on LeBron James to play a lot of minutes at age 39. How much can he really handle that? And and AD will have to be consistent in the playoffs, which I mean it's not always a given, but we'll see what happens there. But I think this is a good team. They can definitely upset some of those high seed teams like the Timberwolves or the Thunder, just with their experience. That it could happen. You never know, and they could go all the way if some things break right for them. But they've been just too flawed this year. In the regular season, to ignore they haven't been a good defensive team this year, and they're offensively not the most consistent or. I don't know. They're just not. 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 They're not consistent offensively. It's a bit of a wonky offense. Yeah, the coaching's been a little questionable too. Like I think there's still some flaws with this team that make me prevent them going higher than this. Orlando Magic. Yeah, I think I put them here as well. Like B tier. Like this is a like the Magic been playing some good basketball lately. Yeah, I think they're sitting. I think they've been on a hot streak lately. Yeah, they're fifth seed right now. And yeah, they've been fun. I mean, Paulo Banchero's been having a good season, All Star. His second year has been pretty impressive. Franz Wagner, defensive, this is a very good defensive team. That's been the key driving force to why they have been this good. Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, Jonathan Isaac, Wendell Carter, Goga Batadze, great defenders all around. Anthony Black, like they have a lot of lengthy, long guys who can play defense, and that's been a driving force for a lot of their wins. But but the question mark for this team is offensively, and why this team is not at that next level is because they're not a good offensive team. Like they struggled a lot to score in the half court, especially when Paulo's off the court. Like they don't have any sort of offensive creation. They don't have a whole lot of floor spacing either. Like it's a very wonky offensive team, and in the playoff, I think they'll get exposed. Along with lack of experience, yeah, I think that'll be a problem. But they've had a good season though, 'cause with their defense. I think that Paulo Franz duo, I think, can definitely make them a good regular season team. In the playoffs, I think they'll get kind of exposed. But it's okay. It's year one. You're in the playoffs for the first time in like a very long time. So I think this is a successful season for them. Dallas Mavericks. Okay. Now this is a tough one because would I go A tier or B tier? Yeah, the Mavericks have been a very weird team this season. They've sorry. They've been good for a bit, and they've also been a little. But they also have these rough stretches in the middle. Some of them are actually good, some of them are actually bad. It's just been up and down. After the trade deadline, they look like world beaters. Everything was going well, but then they went on a big little losing streak. Now they've won three in a row again. So it's like I don't know, because they look like a championship contender, championship favorites, even like one of the favorites in the S tier for a few games. Then they look like a non-playoff team for another few games. So you don't know what Dallas Mavericks are going to get on any good night. So when I put an A or B, okay. You know what? I'll put them in A actually. I feel like they're. I think they're definitely a good bit better than the Sixers, Heat, Magic, and the Kings. The Lakers, I mean, I don't know about the Lakers. I don't know. You know what? I think I'll put a tier below this A tier. Put like an A minus tier. Oops, my bad. Yeah, I'll put like an A minus tier here because I feel like the Mavericks and Lakers are right in this level. I mean, I don't know. Should I take this off? Put them here. Like I can't put the Lakers up there. I don't know. I just don't think I can do that. Um, you know what? Yeah, I think it's tough. Now I'll put the Mavericks here. And I'll keep the Lakers over here. Yeah, I think I'll put the Lakers over here. Yeah, I think this makes sense. 'Cause I still have some of my doubts with the Lakers being that high, considering that the Mavericks definitely have that ceiling to be that good, though. Yeah, because Mavericks have a great. I mean, they have Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving in the playoffs. Like that, all bets are off. Those guys can kill in the playoffs. Luka Doncic in the playoffs is a different beast. We've seen what he can do, and they have a pretty competent defense around him too. Like they have some decent defensive players. They've been better defensively since the trade deadline. After bringing in PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, alongside Derek Lively, Derek Jones Jr., Dante Exum, they have some good defensive players. Secondary scoring, I mean, I think that's the biggest flaw with this team. Because you need KD, I'm sorry, not KD, Luca and Kyrie to be on their game every single night. Because if one of them's not having the best game, like you need like Tim Hardaway Jr. and like PJ Washington to get you buckets. Like I don't know if I can trust that. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't think they're that good. I don't think they can do that in the playoffs. Which makes me doubt them a little bit. But like they have two incredibly skilled players who can easily take over a game. But, yeah, I think that's enough to get them into A tier. Brooklyn Nets. Hmm. I've been working in tier. Like, they have not been a good team at all. Like they started out okay, but like they have been a disaster since. But I'll keep them C just because they're still kind of hanging around the playing tournament. So I think that was kind of like, I think their hot start kind of just evened out and kind of got them into being an average team. I mean, I think I'll put them in C. Yeah. Like, I don't really love the direction of this team right now. Obviously, they're just a mediocre basketball team. Not much else needs to be said. Like Albert just can't be the number one option on a competent NBA team. That just cannot happen. And yeah, Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay, S or A? I'll put them at A. I mean, that pains me to do that, but they don't have any experience at all. I mean, playoff experience, like that's an issue for this team. Like, they are the one seed, and they've been playing some incredible basketball all year long. Like they've been great, but in the playoffs, can do they have the playoff experience? Go far in the playoffs. And especially, I think the lack of like big man depth as well is another cause of concern. Like they don't have like the rebounding is a real issue, which can really change games in the playoffs. Like we saw what happened with the Cavaliers last year; they could not rebound at all, and that cost them the series. Like that was a key part of like rebounding is very important, and I think that's probably a bigger flaw than people realize. Along with playoff experience and I think that kind of prevents them being the S tier. They're still an excellent team. I still think they'll be a great team, a very good team. Like Shea is, I have no doubt Shea's going to translate his game to the playoffs. J Dub is him. He's great. Chet Holmgren, good player. They got depth in the Lou Dort, Isaiah Joe. Gordon Hayward, though he has not played well since coming there. Maybe I think he'll turn it around though. Yeah, I think it's a slow start adjusting to the system. But Kendrick Williams, Aaron Wiggins, they got depth. They got good frontline talent. I think they're a good defensive team, which makes it's like they're a very all around team. It just comes with experience, the rebounding issues. I think they'll be a second round conference finals team. I don't know if they're the favorites though. Sorry. Okay. All right, so the Pacers. Pacers, yeah, I put them B tier. They've been kind of disappointing lately. I thought they'd be much better than what they have shown since the Siakam trade. Granted, Tyrese Halliburton has not exactly been healthy ever since he injured his hamstring. It feels like he's playing through the injury. That's why he hasn't been nearly as effective. That's probably why they haven't been playing that well. Even with the addition of Pascal Siakam, they still have not been a good team. Um, defensively, they still have not really. Siakam not exactly improved their defense at all, really. Offensively, they've gotten worse, obviously, and yeah, I just don't know if this team can do a whole lot. They'll make the playoffs probably for sure, but I think it's the first round exit this year, which is a bit disappointing considering we thought they'd make some noise, maybe get to the second round, maybe even deeper than that, but they've been a little disappointed lately though. I think they're a good team, but they're not quite at that level yet to do damage in the playoffs. Pelicans, okay, so would I put them in A tier or A minus? I think I'll put A minus. I think it's a good spot for this Pelicans team. It's the perfect spot. I think they're much better than the teams below them, like Sixers, Heat, Pacers, Kings, Magic. But I'm not quite sure if I'm confident putting them, in that A tier with the Bucks, Thunder, and all those type of teams. Because the Pelicans they have a great team. Like I like how they fit. Like Zion, I think like Zion Williamson's. Yeah, he hasn't had the. Yeah, he's been a little disappointing, but I think he's still been a good player. Ingram is still there. I think he can definitely have big games. But then they have incredible depth. Like You have like Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, both great two-way wings, 3-and-D guys. You got good role players like Jonas Valanciunas, and CJ McCollum's still there. Larry Nance Jr., Najee Marshall, Dyson Daniels, Jose Alvarado. This is a deep team. Jordan Hawkins could even come off the bench and hit a couple of threes in the playoffs if you need them. Like he can, that's your secret weapon. He can come in if they need some spacing. Like yeah, I think that what prevents them from being in those higher tier is probably like the the frontline talent. You need like a number one option to like take over games and just be that guy. And I just don't know if Zion Williamson is that guy right now. He could be eventually in the future, and the hope was that he would be, but he hasn't been that this year. Brandon Ingram, all same thing. I don't think he's quite that guy either. So yeah, I think they'll only take so far without having like the guy. But I think they got incredible depth though, which makes them. It's a great team overall. The defenses are very good. Like that alone probably jumps up to an A-. They just need a better frontline talent to get to the favorites. You know what I mean? Pistons pretty not much to say. D tier. They've had a very bad season. Very disappointing. Like no progress whatsoever. Like, I don't even like they gotta get it together at some point. Like yeah. Anyway, Raptors. Yeah, this is also a D tier. They have not had. They have also had a bit of a disappointing. Not disappointing, but they're probably tanking as well. Like a lot of their guys are injured right now. They're probably going to be injured for the entire season. And yeah, I mean they were playing some good basketball when they were healthy, but then they're kind of in that plane race for a bit there, but now they're out of it, and they're probably to be out of it. But I think next year they'll probably be in that C tier. I think they'll be better next year, but like yeah, right now they're a D tier team. Spurs, as D tier, like this team's also been in the bottom of the Western Conference for the entire season, and that won't change this year. Wemby's had an incredible year, but like that's really it for this team. Phoenix Suns. Okay. A minus? You know what? Should I put him an A tier? I don't know. I feel like I should. I feel like this team can really. I don't know. I feel like this team can definitely turn around the playoffs. Like I feel like they've been kind of messing around here in the regular season. They're just trying to get healthy. They're just trying to rest. I feel like they're trying to rest up a little bit. But I think in the playoffs, this team can definitely make some noise. I really do. Like with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and now having Bradley Beal as your third option, like these guys are going to score a lot of points. Not to mention Grayson Allen's been one of the best 3-point shooters in all of basketball. He's shooting like 48% from three, which is incredible. I think, and they've been good defensively too. They've been like a 14th or 13th ranked defense, which is actually pretty surprising. Didn't really expect that, but that's what they've been doing. So this team can play competent defense, and along with having that offensive firepower, this team could go very far. Like I'm going to dock them one spot just because their inconsistencies this season. Like, I feel like they've been a little up and down to my liking to be in that S tier, but they're up there. I think they can definitely make some noise this year. They can. I wouldn't be surprised to make the finals. So we'll see. Timberwolves. Yeah, this is unfortunate. Like I'd put him in A if Towns was healthy, but with the concerns with his injury, like I think A minus where you should put it. Like not having Towns is a pretty big thing to lose. Like he's their second scoring option on a team that kind of struggles a little bit to score points. Like they've been incredible on the defensive end, which is I think very important in the playoffs. Having elite defense, been by far the best defensive team in all of basketball. But the offensive end, it's been a little inconsistent, and it's going to be even more troubling without having